breads, we won't include sourdoughs because they're special. Most breads need 2 proofs. So you mix all your dough together, prove it first. Generally 20-25 minutes for bread is enough, because if you let it proof for too much longer, it gets really soft and it's really aerated and it's a little bit harder to work with. So I usually give mine about 20-25 minutes and it's absolutely fine and ready to go. And then the second proof is, so you're sort of knocking all the air out and redistributing the yeast and the sugar and everything through it. And then the second proof, wait for it to double in size again. And again, you can't rush this process because you want it to actually increase in size. So it's more of a visual thing, not a time thing. So again, how you prove is really important to how quickly it's going to take. So when I do my second proof, I like to do it again back in the oven, and there's a reason for that. Is because it needs to stay moist as well. So what you want to try and do is make a nice little sauna in your oven for your dough. So that's a good idea. When you've done your, if you do your proving in here, you can just stick that, the thermoserver with the boiling water in it, back into your oven again. And it's just in there on 50 degrees. There's no fan because the fan's going to dry the dough out. So if you can't get your oven to work without fan, don't worry about doing it in the oven. So you just want to create a nice little moist, oh, that word that everybody loves so much, a nice little moist, warm place, and your dough will go crazy, and it's a really good way to prove it very quickly.
Melissa, can we use a steam oven? Someone has asked.
Oh, perfect. If you're lucky enough to have a steam oven, go for it.
There you go, Emily. That would be great.
Okay, so I have mixed up the cinnamon butter. I just did that before because you don't need to watch me do that and listen to me doing that. Oops. Nice squishy spatula is really good for this job. Now the same principle applies. Thanks for just asking the questions because I can't read the chat. So if you've got a question, by all means. I'm leaving a little, you'll see once I get there, but I'm leaving about, I don't know, 5 or 10 centimetres at the top of the roll, free of what I'm putting in here. So the same thing applies, and it's probably more important when you're doing pizza scrolls because you need that little strip there, the top of the dough there, without anything on it because it sticks better to the other side. So these, once you've got the cutting and the shaping of scrolls right, you can go crazy doing all sorts of interesting fillings. My kids personally like pizza scrolls, so I will do some tomato paste, some crushed pineapple, some shredded ham and some grated cheese. You can do another sweet version that I've done once was jam and shredded coconut and drizzled chocolate. So they were kind of like Lamington scrolls. They were pretty nice. What else could you do in there? You could do like a pumpkin hummus and some goat cheese and some baby spinach. Do normal old hummus, pesto, sun-dried tomatoes, baby spinach, bit of everything. Go crazy with your imagination. So that's about good enough. So now what we're going to do, put that over there. So I'm going to get my trusty dough scraper. So you can use your Thermomix spatula if you like. I find these dough scrapers are fantastic and they are available in the mix shop. I find these are actually really, really handy with making bread. Just going to lift the bottom of it off there. And I'm just going to roll it up. And this kind of helps lifting it off. You can sort of pull on top. Can everyone see okay? I'm not hearing anything. Someone talk to me.
It's looking great, Melissa. We can see perfectly you rolling.
Okay. Now, the other thing too is, sorry, don't be, especially with your wet fillings like jam and tomato paste and crushed tomato and stuff like that, don't be too generous in there because the more filling that you've got, the sloppier it's going to be. That's a really nice word up there with moist, isn't it? And the harder it's going to be to do a nice tight roll. And then we come back the other way. That's why these Thermomats are also essential. Please don't feel like I'm doing the hard sell, but they are fantastic for bread making. So
you're right. And these mats, by the way, are also host rewards. So if you're hosting today, you know, you can host a virtual cooking experience just by inviting 2 guests. Then that's the easiest way for you to get access to these baking mats. So the big one that you can see Melissa is using right now. But there's also a smaller one that can go straight into the oven.
Yep. All right. So I've got my, back to me. I've got my log here ready to go. So I just sort of pop the ends in to make it a bit neater. Now, the thing with these Thermomats is I think they have, I remember being told, they've got a fiberglass lining. So you don't cut on these, don't use knives on these. However, I'm going to make a slight exception because You're
a pro.
I'm a pro, but I'm only going about 3/4 of the way through the dough because it just makes it easy. You don't want to sort of disturb it too much. Sorry, my hands are in the wrong place, aren't they? Should have gone the other way.
That's all right. I heard someone else was using like a dental floss, or you can use what's that? The fishing rod. Also,
I've used lots of different ways. Yeah, exactly. So then I've got my tray here, and I've got another tray off to the side. So the end ones that don't look as pretty, pop them there.
I'll eat the unpretty ones.
Oh, you're going to drive all the way to my house, Jenny. So there we go. So then I'm just going to line them up here. Without trying to mangle them too much. And they do like with your bread rolls and stuff, they do like to be a little bit close together. They can kind of snuggle up and support each other as they grow. I'm going to get 9 on there. I am perfectly. Let me turn you around. Oh, I'll move that in 1 second. Now these will grow to a fairly decent size. My kids were absolutely thrilled when I said this was my contribution to the cooking class today. That means afternoon tea, and these will go in the freezer and become morning tea. All right, so there we go. So we've got them all wound up.
But when you say you put them, sorry, just quickly, when you say you put them in the freezer, are you going to put them in like this, or do you bake them first?
I bake them first. I'll bake them and I'll ice them, and then they go in the freezer. And they'll be, and when back in the olden days when they used to go to school, they would take one out of the freezer in the morning, and it would be ready to go by lunch, by recess. Sorry, it was beautiful. So what you also can do, you can stick these in the fridge. So if you were doing these later in the day, you could stick these in the fridge at this point, just loosely cover them with Glad wrap. And then they can do a slow proof in the fridge overnight, get them out in the morning, bring them back to room temperature. I actually think this weather, sticking them back in the oven or on something warm to help them along is a good idea. Then you can just go ahead and bake them. So then you can have fresh cinnamon scrolls. Oh,
fantastic.
If you really want to. I know there's a friend of mine who's American, and that's their Christmas Day tradition, is to have fresh cinnamon scrolls for breakfast. So I'm going to stick these back in the oven to prove, and I'm going to put some boiling water in a dish because I want them to stay moist. The moister the bread is as it proves, the more it's going to grow, because you don't want everything around here to get too hard and then it's got nowhere to expand because the outside's too hard.
Melissa, can we put them in the freezer? We've just got a question.
Can I put them in the freezer afterwards or before?
I think before or after, she wanted to know either.
I have never frozen this dough, so I can't say yes or no it works, but I always, all my breads and rolls, I make rolls for the boys, I make loaves of bread, slice it, stick it in the freezer, and it's all absolutely fine. Defrosts beautifully, just like freshly made, just not quite as warm. But yes, freezing for sure.
Perfect, thank you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Oh my God, they look gorgeous. Right, the way you're holding there, I'm just about to crawl over there on my screen.
Are you salivating? Well, let's put them in the oven and we'll let them prove, and we'll come back later on.
All right, thanks so much for now, Melissa.
No worries,
And
thanks.
no worries. So for the next dish, we're going to head over to Kim Smith, who is 30 years. Wonderful. Kim's based in Brighton, and I know most of you know her very well. And she is going to introduce us today and show us how to make a green smoothie. Over to you, Kim.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. And it's nice to see some of my customers there. So hello to everyone. Hope you're having fun cooking along with us. Quite easy, I should say, the green smoothie that I'm doing today, but perfect for breakfast and especially for Mother's Day. If there is some champagne flowing a little bit later, it's good to start off with a green smoothie. So this one is on Cookie Doo. There's a lot of recipes on Cookie Doo for smoothies, and so there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing one. All I've done is I've gone on to Cookie Doo and actually saved the recipe into Cook Today, my weekly planner. So when I go on to the Thermomix, I'm going to the 3 lines up the top there, which hopefully, Chris, are you helping me here? A little bit closer down like that. And you can see you've got my week. So I just go to my week and there's my recipe to make today. And I've got all in my, oh, it tells me there's a newer version available. So that's great. Not sure what the change will be, but we'll work that out as we go. So in here, I've got a list of all the ingredients, which I, as I say, have already got. And then I just go to start cooking. So then it steps me along. First thing I'm to do is to put a Lebanese cucumber in there, which I have already chopped. So we just put all of that in.
I mean, how cool is that? We can have the recipe
60
straight.
grams of the fresh spinach, baby spinach. Here, put that in. The scales have automatically come up and weighing it in, 62, beautiful. And the next one we're going to do is some parsley. So I've actually got, it is parsley and mint, but I've already got all that there. So I'll just pop all that in already. So next, got my fresh mint. And we go next, lemon, lovely lemon from the garden. My own lemon tree and some ginger. Got ginger here. That in and an orange and also an apple. So the next one there is an apple. So we'll just put all that in. Next step, 100 grams of ice cubes. Excuse me for reaching across. Just keeping those in the thermoserver so that they stay nice and frozen. So the ice cubes play the part of one, they keep your drink cold, and plus the ice cubes do help to cut down all the fibre in the actual smoothie. So they help to break it all down. So, and 100 grams of water. We just take our lid out, reset the scales, pour the water in, and it never matter, never worry. If you go over a little bit, won't make any difference. Next, lid in. Next step, we've set it for 1 minute and it's asking me to turn it up to speed 9. Off we go.
All right, so I don't know if you can hear me, but basically what we're doing here is blending, all right? That's the blending function. As a matter of fact, the TM6 has a couple of built-in functions that you can also reproduce with your TM31.
A little bit early, it'll be all done.
Sorry.
And
Yeah,
now delayed opening, just to make sure everything has dropped down to the bottom, not still spinning around. And here we have our delicious, so we'll pour it in. There we go, look how green that is. How much goodness is in there? The girls cooking along with me. Your mother will love that. So there you go, folks. Back to you, Jeanette.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks so much, Kim. I was just saying, whilst you were blending, so I had, I've basically taken over. So now, yep, I hope you're muted and everyone can hear me. Fantastic. Yeah, so what we wanted to show with that recipe was obviously the blending function. And I was just saying in the TM6, we have a couple of these functions that you can recreate. Not all of them with the TM31, but with the TM5. They're already there preset. And one of them is the blending mode. So we're going to use that for blending, for example, when they make the veggie stock paste or smoothies or making velvety soups and stuff like that. All right, I think I'm going to be next. So Holly, if you could give me the stage, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, you're good to go.
All right, I just don't know whether I'm spotlighted or not. Okay, but here we go. There she is. I can see me. I need to rearrange the apron right there. No. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm trying to show you is the poached eggs. I know lots of you are part of our Thermomix Bayside community on Facebook, and very often we get the poached eggs question there. Can you make poached eggs in the Thermomix? Answer straight away is yes, you can. So there's recipes in there, but what I wanted to show you today is a little bit different to the ones that you probably have tried before, because what I want to do is I want to introduce you to the blade cover. What's that, I hear you say? So that's a blade cover, and that's soon going to be available on the mix shop again. So a blade cover you can use on your TM6 and on your TM5. And what it is, it actually just sits on top of the blades and it's covering them up. Who would have thought? Blade cover covering up the blades. So what it does, when you do cooking in there, so for example, the TM6 can do sous vide cooking, you get the whole more volume in the bowl that you can use without the food touching the blades. Okay, so everything is safe in there. For example, there's a blade cover, there's a meatball recipe, meatball cooked in tomato sauce, also uses the blade cover, where it's a slow cooked version of it. So the TM6 can do also slow cooking. All right, so you see where I'm going with this. There's so many more functions that this new machine can do. And for that recipe, you're going to need the blade cover. All right, so we've been promised it will be back end of April. I checked this morning, it still wasn't there, so it will be any day now. What you can do, and I'd like to encourage you to head over to the mix shop after we finish here and search for it. I don't know how long it's been the last time you've checked our mix shop, but it's beautiful. It has been completely refurbished, and every item in there has a great description. Some of them have even videos with them. And for the blade cover, you can put down your email address and you get notification the moment it comes back, so you can jump straight back onto the mix shop and get it delivered to your place. All right, so as for today, I'm going to use the blade cover. I'm taking it out right now because this recipe I'm going to do manually with you, and in the recipes they're going to send you, there will be two versions available, one for the TM5 and one for the TM6. And I'm going to use the TM6 method here today because I want to also show you the kettle function. Yes, you've heard right. The TM6 also works as a kettle now. All right, so all we're going to do is we start with weighing in. So now I need to work upside down again. So bring up my scales. And also something you might notice the difference is, first of all, we got a bigger screen and we got built-in cookie dough. So everyone who's using the Thermomix and the guided cooking before, you can see you can access cookie dough here straight away. So you don't have to think synchronize the recipes anymore between Cookie Do recipe platform and your machine via the cookie. So with the TM6, you've got it built in straight away and you can start cooking straight away. Another major difference, and that's going to be interesting for the bakers amongst you, is that our Stephen, I just go to. So we're weighing now in 1 gram increments. All right, for the bakers, that's always very important because unlike with the cooking where you can go a little bit more or less, doesn't matter. With the baking, that's very important. So TM6's got 1 gram increments built-in scales. All right, so I'm going to weigh in here 170 grams of white vinegar. And I know you're freaking out like I do because I went over. It easily happens, don't worry at all, because you're cooking, not baking. And again, zero it back and add 1,700 grams of water. That's going to be the whole jug here. Plus, sorry about the noise. And a little bit from here. So 1.7 liters. Here we go. And getting out of here. And now I want to use the kettle mode. So popping the lid back on. So from all these different modes that we have a pre-clean mode, we have the slow cooking, we got fermentation, we'll hear about that later, a rice cooking mode, a thickening mode we're going to show you, a blending mode, kneading, and so on. A couple of them are familiar, but a lot of them are new. And the best news is the machine will always be updated with new functions. And I may or may not have heard that there are another 4 new functions coming soon. So stay tuned. All right, so that's the kettle mode. So if I go on the kettle mode, you can see I can set the, I can choose the temperature that I want to have it put on. So as per default, it goes on 100 degrees. But you could also, for example, if you're a tea drinker, you can set it to 80 degrees or 70, 75 degrees, as green tea should not have boiled water, right? So you can reduce it. And how this works is you go back here, all you need to do is turn the dial and the machine will actually stop as soon as has reached the temperature that you set it to. All right, so no guessing. How cold or hot was the water when I put it in? It's going to take 10 minutes, it's going to take 12 minutes. Doesn't really matter because it's going to stop as soon as it hits the temperature that you set. All right, so it's going to take a couple of minutes. So that gives us time to move on to Elizabeth. She's jumping at, right? Elizabeth is going to show us today the thickening mode. And yeah, over to you.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to my kitchen. Just to let you know, I'm in Blairgowrie. I have a beautiful view looking over our bay and I'm surrounded, we'll have water on both sides. It's a very lovely place to be on the planet. So today I'm showing you how to make hollandaise sauce, which is really, really easy. So I'll be making a hollandaise and I'm going to ask you to put in the chat box what other sauces you think you could make. But I'm going to make it a little bit difficult because I'm going to say you can do curds, like a lemon curd. You can do custards, bechamel, béarnaise. Now you come up with something that I haven't said already. As Jenny said, we talk about the smart kitchen. Having a Thermomix gives you a smart kitchen. We have 20 functions. Now, what I find is very interesting is that the function that I'm using today and the rice cooker function were not released when this TM6 was released. And as Jenny said, there will be more and more functions or modes that will be released in the future. And won't that be exciting to see which ones they will be? So, with the rice cooker mode, it's great. Ask your consultant to explain that one to you because it copes with all types of rices brilliantly. So, let's start. I have my ingredients ready, and I probably should turn my Thermomix on because it's gone to sleep. And then I'll wait out to make it a little bit quicker and simpler for you. But there is a little trick that I'd like to show you, and I'm hoping you'll be able to see this. I might try and just change my view a bit. If I just put that, oopsie daisy, if I just put that down a bit, you might see what I'm trying to show you. Okay, so what I have here is a regular glass bowl, and that's my Thermomix lid without the MC in it. Oops, I need the MC. Oh my goodness, that would be a disaster. You know that if you're making mayonnaise and you need to drizzle the oil in, it does it at the right speed. So I'm just opening the egg. I must admit I am a little bit nervous today, so hopefully this will all go well for me. So you can see, it's a little bit disgusting, but you can see, whoa, look at that, the egg white coming down.
It's amazing. And the egg yolk just sits there on top of the lid. And you can separate.
I'm going to just get this back on.
Yeah, that's a great tip. So you can use the lid and the measuring cup in there to separate the eggs. Fantastic.
There we go. Now we can, I shouldn't have changed the angle. But anyway, here we go. Right, so what I'm going to do is, I've already done this recipe because we like to make sure that we can manage it well for your, I'm going to go for recently cooked hollandaise sauce. There it is. What I'd like to mention is that there is a collection that deals with sauces exclusively. So have a look on your Cookie Do platform and have a see what there is there. So I'm going to start cooking, and it says this is a really, really easy recipe. I think that's the water, 10 grams of water, a little bit more. I think we've got a bit of flexibility here. Next, lemon juice. This between 10 and 20. You'll find what suits you as far as flavour is concerned. If you like it a little bit more bitey, then you'll go for a little bit more lemon juice. I'm going to stop at 19. Right, next. Unsalted butter. I've cut it into cubes and in it goes. That's 150 grams. Next, 4 egg yolks already separated. Bit gooey, there we go. Next, here we go. Pinch of salt. I'm a very easygoing cook. I think that's about a pinch. Next.
It's to taste.
Yeah. Pinch of pepper. Next. Oh, then I'll just get rid of that egg yolk. Just pop it out there. Straight onto the floor. Lucky me. Okay.
The dog will be happy to help you with that.
When I release him from his prison. So we now have the little sauce done there. It's all automatic. 12 minutes, 80 degrees. Oh, important little. I'm going to turn it on, and it zhuzhes right round to off it goes.
Wonderful, great, thanks so much.
And one last thing, Jenny, if you go into the thickening mode and you go into information, it will say to you, if you're using your thickening agent as an egg, it's at 80 degrees, but if you're using something like corn flour, it will be 100 degrees, but it will do that for you automatically. So while this is cooking, back to you guys.
Wonderful, thank you so much. So before we head over to Sandy, let me just quick check in with Melissa how the proving is going. Nope, not yet. You let me know. Just unmute you quickly. Melissa, how's the proving going? Can't hear her. You're muted.
Unmute myself. There we go. Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yes, we
Beautiful.
can.
Sorry. Yeah. Look, they probably need another 6 or 7 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Then what are we going to do next? We're going to head over to Sandringham,
Sandy.
to Sandy's kitchen. That's right. Hi, Sandy. What are you going to show us today? Hang on, we still have you. You have not muted. Hang on. Let me give Holly a hand here. Or can you unmute yourself, Sandy?
Andy, you can't? Oh, hang on a second. Must be something wrong with.
That's not. Just keeping it real. We're real people in real kitchens.
I am pressing it.
And having
not responding.
real trouble.
Oh. There you go, Sandy. Off you go.
Hello, that's better. How are we all? So welcome to my kitchen in Sandringham in Bayside. So today I am doing the Dalgona coffee. So it's something that is just an absolute viral sensation right now. I'm sure you've all heard about it on the internet or seen it. So it's basically a whipped coffee. Great for everybody that, since we're all social distancing, and far cheaper and nicer than going to your local cafe. You can make this at home. I've practiced on my hubby, he loves it. So that's what we're going to do today. Very simple. It's basically just even ingredients of your freeze-dried coffee, your water and sugar. So the sugar, you do need the sugar in it because that's between the sugar and the coffee and the water, that's actually what makes the magic happen, and it will become whipped in your Thermomix. So that is what we're going to do today. We're actually going to use the butterfly in this. Now the butterfly, as many of you might have seen or used, you can't go over speed 4. So please just never go over speed 4 with your butterfly. But we use the butterfly for a lot of different things. So it's about preparing your sauces. It is whipping cream, doing your mayonnaise, making chocolate mousse, all those sorts of things. You know, your hollandaises, things like that as well. So your butterfly is a great little tool. So use it well. As I said, don't go over speed 4 or it will disintegrate, and you will be needing a new one. So
we do sell spare parts. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's true. We do. Yeah. So what we're going to do today. So I actually have this saved in my week in Cookie Do. So it is called the Magic Coffee Whip Dalgona, and it's in the US Cookie Do platform. So when you do want to search for it, and you can type in Dalgona into Cookie Do. Just make sure you remove the Australian filter. So click on filters and remove that, and you'll find this will actually come up for you. And what you'll actually see when I say start cooking, what this is actually, it's asking me to put the butterfly whisk in, which I'll do in a minute. And if I go next, well, obviously being a US recipe, it's all changing the ingredients and the measurements. So you can see on here, it's asking, it's in ounces because it's a US recipe. So your Thermomix will automatically change from grams to ounces because that's what it actually wants. So you don't need to worry about, oh, how much is, half an ounce in grams and things like that. It will automatically do it for you. Still just measure it as you're going to do. So this recipe actually does it for a couple of coffees. So I'm actually not going to use this one today. I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants and do it manually. So if you want to use guided cooking, you can do it on Cookie Do, but I'm going to do it manually. But so you know, it is there for you to actually use. So what I'm going to do is, so I've just got my bowl and I'm going to put my butterfly in there. So you'll see on your butterfly, there's always, if you can never remember what speed to not go over, it's actually written on the side of your butterfly, which is, it's saying maximum speed 4. So to put your butterfly in, most of you will actually know how to do it, but you can, just the bottom of that will go onto the top of your cog of your blade. So you just sit it right on top. Now, there's always lots of different people saying, oh, it needs to be to the left of the highest blade and things like that. So it's completely up to you how you put it in. Once you're cooking with it, depending on what you're cooking, unless there's food and things that are, getting caught on the blade, it should stay on top of your blade. Every once in a while, I know when we do mashed potato or things like that, you'll hear it clinking around in the bowl. Just stop your machine, reinsert your butterfly, just attach it back on again, and it'll be good. Otherwise, just remove it and take it off. But generally, you'll see one side will go around a little bit more. If I turn it, that one only moves a little bit. So just make sure your butterfly is in and you can do that. So we've inserted our butterfly, putting our bowl back in. I'm actually going to make an amount here for 6 coffees. So the neighbours are going to absolutely love me because they're all going to be getting some of this. But generally it is 1 tablespoon per coffee. So as long as you have equal amounts of your coffee, sugar, water, then you're all good to go. But I'm going to be using 6 tablespoons of each, so the neighbours can all have some too. So we have 6 tablespoons of coffee. Now it needs to be freeze-dried coffee that you're actually using. So don't go thinking we can use fresh percolated coffee or things like that. It needs to be freeze-dried. So we're going to insert that into the machine. And 6 tablespoons of sugar. Now you can actually use Natvier and things like that, other different sweeteners. It does actually work. But yeah, just so you know, you do need to have that sugar in there for the magic to happen. Okay, and I've got the 6 tablespoons of water as well. So we're going to put that in. Okay, and then I'm only going to set this for a minute initially, just to mix it all up, and then I'll come back while that's all happening and have that and show you the result of that. But I'm going to put that on speed 4. And I'm going to my measuring cup as well.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. That was great explanations about the butterfly whisk. And yeah, I'm pretty sure lots of our customers here will be pleased to hear that there's actually no right or wrong way of putting the butterfly in there. So as long as it goes all the way to the bottom, don't worry too much about it. Okay, I forget here, just my kettle mold has just finished. And let me just check in quickly with Elizabeth, how she's going with the thickening mold. Has it finished yet? 1 more minute? Okay, great. Then double checking with Melissa, how's the dough looking? Still proving?
Hang on a minute. Am I unmuted? Yes. I'll tell you
Yes,
what I'll
you are.
do. I'll bring it back. So you can see how they've already started to grow. I'm actually, if I was not in this, that really hurt. If I was not in the cooking class, I'd probably give them another 10 minutes. But what I'm going to do is stick them in the oven and heat the oven up. So as the oven warms up, they can finish their proving and cooking at the same time. So that's kind of like a cheat. I wouldn't recommend it ordinarily, but we'll do it today.
Okay, so putting it in the cold oven and using the extra time the oven needs to heat up.
The oven's been on 50. So the oven's been on 50. So they've been in there proving with some steamed water, and they're nice and springy. But I'm just going to put them back in and just turn the oven on to 180 fan force, which everything goes in fan force 180 in my kitchen. So
all right,
I'm going to cook them now.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Holly, do we have any questions in the chat?
We have a few questions coming through. Someone asked first how we spell Dalgona, which is D-A-L-G-O-N-A. And also, hang on, let me just, we've got someone asking, does freeze-dried coffee mean plunger coffee?
No, it's actually the instant coffee. So,
yeah. So something like Moccona or Nescafe or something like that.
Nescafe or, yeah, that's the Aldi brand. Yeah, that's right. Very good questions. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right, so I get a wave here from Elizabeth. The thickening mold has finished. Yes, back to you, Melissa. Sorry, Elizabeth.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, it is finished, and one of the things that's kind of fun to watch while you're having a Chardonnay or your gin and tonic is that the cooking starts at a slower pace and then it starts to pick up speed. I think that's when the butter started to melt it, and then it gets a bit of air into it to give it a nice fluffy texture. So it is done, and you see that.
Mmm.
Now, I tell you what I can smell it. It is so delicious. You can smell the butter, you can smell the eggs, and just a nice amount of lemon to give it that bit of a tang. And I'm going to put it into my little sauce boat. And while I'm doing this, I want you to tell me what I did with my egg whites.
Good question, yeah.
So into the chat box. And I have a few suggestions. Now, I hope you can see this. So I'll bring it down a bit. How's that? Can you see that?
Oh my God,
Okay,
amazing.
So asparagus with the hollandaise and chopped egg, hard-boiled egg. Now, what I'd like to share with you is how easy it is to do that. Based on keeping it hot and timing, what I did is I made the hollandaise sauce and I put it was just the right amount to put into the little thermo server, which kept it hot. Meanwhile, I used my aroma to steam the asparagus, and inside I used my little basket here to put the eggs, to hard boil the eggs. Now, admittedly, the eggs took a little bit longer than the asparagus, so it's just a timing thing, you know, it's going to be X amount. Also, boiling eggs is the most brilliant thing. You don't have to stop and say, now, is it 6 minutes in boiling water, or do I put it in the cold water and then put it, you don't have to remember everything. Your Thermomix will tell you how long you need to do it, and they will be perfect every time. So when you're doing the soft boiled egg onto your lobster, it's just the right consistency of the egg yolks.
Ah, you're talking Mother's Day, breakfast in bed right there.
Now, I'm going to show you, because as I said, I did some earlier, what I did with my whoever put that meringue. Thank you, Katrina, is it? So this is what I did. There was another one, but I actually ate it. It was just delicious. So that's just a little meringue stack. There's lots of suggestions you could find in Cookie Dough. But have a look for these. 2-minute chocolate mud cake, perfect meringues, almond cookies, Mexican fried cauliflower, egg bacon pizza, blue velvet cake. Haven't heard of that one before. I think it must be an American one. Angel food cake, nougat, pavlova, all things that can be done when you've got egg whites.
Wow, fantastic.
So yummy, lucky me. I'm done. Delicious.
Stop it.
Absolutely delicious.
Oh my God, the perks of this job, honestly, that we have all the food that we're showing you today, we can all eat ourselves. Or let me put it that way, I think it's the only job in the world where you can work and feed the family at the same time. All right, great tips and great recipes for the egg white. Again, we can use Cookie Dough for that. So whenever you have an ingredient, for example, with the egg whites, you can just type them in the search field, and Cookie Dough will give you lots of suggestions what to do with it. All right, Sandy, how's the Dalgona coffee looking?
Perfect timing. It's actually just finished. So I'm going to remove my lid for you to check this magic out. Look at that. That's
Wow.
amazing. It looks and smells amazing. So what I am doing today is with the Dalgona coffee. So I have just 3/4 of a cup of milk. You could use hot milk, cold milk. I have heard some amazing things about what you could use this whipped Dalgona coffee on, in terms of maybe an espresso martini, put it on top. I know Dan Murphy's have an amazing recipe at the moment online on their website. And you could put Baileys in it. You could put lots of things. Enter it into the chat box. What would you use this Dalgona whipped coffee for, or on top of? So let us know. So what we're going to do is can you actually see? Maybe not, I'll just bring it down a little bit. So I am just going to get some of this whipped coffee and spoon it on top of my glass, which I'm sure you'll probably do a lot neater than I will be.
Well, I can't see the chat box, but I see ice cream right there. So for me, that's just, I want to sit in.
I know. How amazing.
Lick the bowl. Oh.
How does that look, team? I know my hubby's going to be loving having this. He'll be buzzing by the end of the day, drinking all of these. So there you have it. Nice Dalgona coffee. So enjoy.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Sandy.
No worries.
Great. Okay. So before we go going back, I'm going to introduce you to Katya over in Hyatt. So she's almost the next door neighbor to me. Hi, Katya. And Katya is going to show you. No, yes, we can hear you. So
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Katya is going to show us how to use the new high heat function of the TM6. So as you all know from the old Thermomixes, so the former Thermomixes, we were limited to the maximum temperature setting of the aroma, which is about 122. And the TM6 actually can go higher. So we can use temperature settings. They are pre-built in a recipe. And they go up to 160 or 170 degrees, depending on the recipes. So over to you, Katya. Show us what you can do with the high heat.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm happy to show you today we're doing the browned onions, as Jenny just said, in the high heat function, which is a function which is only available through guided cooking. So for the guided recipe in Cookie Do. So I already have the recipe up here, so we just go start cooking. And what we put in is 20 grams of olive oil. And next then we have the browned onions, or well, brown or red onions, whatever you have at home, it's fine. Then we are going to use the splash guard, which is also one of the items which belongs to the Thermomix. The splash guard prevents you from splattering during searing or browning or caramelizing stages. So this is very important that we just pop that on top. So all the steam will go through the little holes here. So we have done that. So this will take now 60 minutes to brown. And I'm gonna go, it's done. And we're gonna just go here and we let that brown for 16 minutes. And I will show you the end result once I'm done. Back to you, Danny.
All right. Yes, so my sound's a bit different because my headphones just need a little bit of charging. Wonderful. So can't wait to see the end result in a couple of minutes. And now we're heading back to Bentley or the Bentley East, actually to Chris' kitchen. And she will show us a little bit. Okay, we can see everyone all over the place. Yep, there you are.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. So Chris is going to tell us a little bit about an easy breakfast cater, and also going to tell us a little bit about the fermentation mode of the TM6. What can you ferment, Chris?
What can we ferment? Well, you can ferment a lot of stuff, but today mainly we're going to talk about fermenting yogurt. So those of you that have a TM5, you've got the yogurt, the automatic yogurt function, which I think goes for about 8 hours. We do something similar in the TM6, but we just use the fermenting function. So we can either ferment it in the bowl, we can ferment it in the Varoma in small jars, or I've heard of some people just popping it in some flat plastic.
Oh, I think we have a little bit difficulties with your connection there, Chris. Oh, I hope we haven't lost you.
glass
Okay, that's, I think you're
containers
right.
that fit in your Varoma, right? So if you go into Cookie Dough, you'll find quite a few different recipes for yogurt that include using dairy. Should I talk?
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Keep going. Okay, we were talking about yogurt. So if you go onto Cookie Dough, you'll find quite a few different yogurt recipes, including dairy and coconut, which is great. But also there's a really nice cashew milk yogurt, which is great. So considering your dietary preference or those in your family or friends that have got allergies, you'll be able to find it there. Because I'm pretty sure you'll be able to swap cashews for almonds or something like that. But firstly, I'm going to make what's called Cater. So for those of my customers that are out there, you probably would have heard of it before because Cater is something I love to make. Cater stands for coconut, apple, dates and almonds. So it's about 40 grams of coconuts, dates and almonds and then an apple. I think the recipe says a green apple. I don't really do green apples. I always do red apples. So it doesn't really matter. It's also originally designed, this recipe was originally designed as a breakfast cereal, which is what I'm putting it with yogurt today. So a great breakfast. But in our household, we make it quite often at night and we have a vanilla custard with it or a lemon custard and it's absolutely divine. So what I've got here is basically the dates. They're the medjool dates, by the way. Picked second out, of course. Coconut and almonds. Then I've got my apple, which, as you can see, I've quartered and I've cored. Look, I don't know why I cored it. I never core my apples if I'm putting them in the Thermomix because they get chopped up enough you will never notice. And there is still traces of nutrients in the core, so I cut it out. Basically then, I'm just going to take it up to speed 5 for about 4 or 5 seconds, depending on how the sound goes.
Chris, I'm just going to stop you
So
for a
here we
second
go.
because we have a lot of people in the chat frozen.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of technical issues with seeing and hearing Chris. Sorry about that. Was expected. Honestly, I've sort of expected something will happen. And again, bear with us. This is just the technology we have to deal with. Okay, so basically what she was saying is with the Cater, a great recipe we're going to share that with you. It's from the recipe community, is where you can chop up a muesli in the morning, really just within a couple of seconds, and serve that together with the yogurt that you have made overnight, ideally. Okay, so we're going to share the recipes with you, and hopefully we have Chris back coming in and showing us the result. There was not really much to see there with the chopping of the ingredients. I think it was Cater is an acronym, stands for coconut, apple, dates, and what was the other one? Someone help me.
Almonds.
Almonds.
Coconut, apple, dates, almonds.
There you go. And that's just one example of a muesli that you can chop up and yeah, and just make that to your liking. All right, so I think I'm going to be next in line anyway, so I'll just continue with the poached eggs. So meanwhile, my water has finished boiling, so I just went there to the kettle mode. So I need to go back to the home screen. So now is the time where I'm going to insert the blade cover. And because obviously my water is hot and it's boiling, I'm going to use some tongs and add that here on top. So it's basically just inserting it on top of the blade. in the original recipe, it says insert the blade before you start with the boiling, but I practiced it a little bit with the family, and we had a lot of poached eggs here last week, and I found that the boiling water actually lifted the blade cover, so I had to press it in with some tongs anyway. So I thought I'm going to do it, turn it around. So bring the water to the boil first, and then add the blade cover after. So I'm just going to set that for a couple of minutes up, set it back to 100 degrees, and when we're using the blade cover, we can not go over speed 1. All right, so now I'm just, don't worry too much about the timing, because the timing now will depend on a couple of things. The sizes of your eggs, so whether using medium, large or extra large eggs, that's the timing, obviously has a great impact there. The liking, how you like your poached eggs, whether the egg yolk should be liquid or even firmer, and also the way you store your eggs, right? So just as a rule of thumb, so there's lots of discussion whether to store the eggs cold in the fridge or outside. I always store them the way I buy them, how they're stored in the shops. So if I buy them in the supermarket or from a farmer, depending whether they store them in the fridge, that's why I keep them. Or if I buy them from the farmers, they're usually not washed, so they don't need to be stored in the fridge. Then I have them outside. I have them already at room temperature. So my eggs are at room temperature. That's why I'm going to reduce a little bit the time. Anyway, so just checking. So the water should be back to boiling. And all we're going to do is now insert the eggs, and the fresher the better, by the way. That rule still applies. And all we're going to do is add them separately now through the lid whilst this is cooking. And after that, I'm going to adjust the time. So that's my egg number 1 and egg number 2. That's the whole secret. And now I'm going to adjust the cooking time. I do mine 2.5 minutes now, and because that's usually how I like them. Okay, and that's all I need to do, and waiting for the time to count down. Okay, then I think Melissa, you should be next with the icing, or have we not seen that? You're muted.
I am muted. I've just unmuted myself. I have, let me just check my scrolls.
Yep.
Holy moly. You know what? We can probably jump ahead because I think they're ready. Actually, what's next? What are we up to? I want 2 minutes. I've actually already made it just because I wanted to jump ahead. So that's just a basic cream cheese icing in there. So I'm going to dash out of screen again. Just 1 second.
Wow.
The all-important cooling rack. Da-da!
Oh my God.
How's that?
Forget Baker's Delight.
Melissa's Delight. Now, yeah, I actually think they probably just need another couple of minutes. So I might, so if your eggs are almost done, you can pad, Jenny. You're good at padding. I'm just going to pop these back in. I just noticed too, I don't know whether someone asked about whether there's a recipe for yogurt, I'll drop down, without milk powder in it. And maybe if people want to know things like that, they could get their consultant to show them how to search and cook you and eliminate ingredients.
Perfect.
So that might be
great tip.
You can kill some time doing that, Jenny. I'm back.
No, that's all right. Yeah. So, great. Great idea. And sorry that Chris wasn't able to tell you a little bit more about that. But the yogurt, really jump onto Cookie Dough. There's lots of collections in there, how to make yogurt, and also dairy-free versions of yogurt. I think she's going to show us, and we're going to have a photo later of the end result of cashew nut yogurt, actually. But there's also recipes for coconut yogurt and any other dairy-free yogurts that you might like. All right, so you can hear the jingling noise, and you'll also notice it sounds a bit different than the TM5 ones. And all of our Thermomixes sound different because you can change the sound, the end sound, and you can also adjust the duration and the volume of it. All right, so my poached eggs are ready, and oh my God, I'm just using my slotted spoon right here to
Jenny,
get them
could we
out.
just post egg whites using this method?
Sorry, what was that?
Could we poach just egg whites using this method?
Absolutely, yes, you can. Yeah. All right, so let me show you. I just got them out, so they're still in one piece. So 2 egg yolks right there, and I've just put them on a plate with some paper kitchen paper towel. Yep, thanks. And just to drain them, and then I'm going to serve them on a piece of smashed avocado toast. All right. Just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to cut them and see whether I made the wrong decision with the 2.5 minutes or if they're already cooked. So again, depending on lots of factors with your eggs and where they're coming from. All right, so Katja, how is the onion situation in your kitchen right now?
I need another 2 minutes, Jenny, and then we'll be done.
Okay, perfect. So then we have basically just Melissa. Do you want to show us the icing?
Oh, there we go. I've remembered to unmute myself. Now, there's 2 schools of thought with these cinnamon scrolls, and someone just asked about the recipes, and we're going to email the recipes for these, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Jenny? Yes? Okay.
Yes,
so
yes,
I used one recipe for the dough and a different recipe for the filling and the cream cheese icing. So the American way to do this is to actually put your icing on while they are still hot, which I'll do, because then it just sort of melts into it just sort of melts into your rolls and your scrolls. So I'm just going to do, these are the end pieces that I've got a child hanging around the door for. They're the pieces that were just not quite perfect. So as you can see, if you put it on while they're still hot, they just melt into the rolls and the swirls. So let me just grab the other ones out.
Someone brought up a really interesting point. Yes, that is a new spatula that comes with the TM6, new and improved one. If you want to take us through what the difference is with that spatula.
Great question.
Were you asking me to do that, or is Jenny going to do that?
I can do that.
Ow.
You do.
Me do? Okay, I can do. There's not a lot difference other than it's really bendy and very flexible. So it's a lot easier to get right round in the crevices of the bowl. So the other one was a lot harder. So as you can see, this one's very quite bendy and flexible. But the rest of it is still the same. Nice little green stripe on the end. I'm actually, if it's okay with you, Jenny, I'm not going to ice these ones yet because they're piping hot. And I actually want the icing to stay on the top rather than melt into the insides like that one does.
Yeah, that's all right.
If that's okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. So we're going to, all of the dishes we're making today, we're going to take a photo and show you share the end result with you anyway. I just want to quickly, if I can get the screen again, Holly, that would be fantastic. I want to show you how beautifully oozing the egg yolk is onto my smashed avocado toast right there. And imagine this one with the dollop of the sauce hollandaise. And what I really would love to see on top of that is some browned onions. So, Katja, how far are we this time?
So, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
So yeah, we are actually done, and you should see this. Look at those onions, beautiful flavored, very intensive flavored. And actually what I'm going to do now, I prepared, I hope you can see that, I prepared a steak before, and I kept it in the beautiful thermo server to just keep it warm. And I'm going to put this steak on my plate, and I'm going to put those beautiful onions on top. Can you see that?
Maybe you need to lift it a little bit.
1 second. So, and here we go. Can you see that?
Yes. Oh, yum.
Yeah, so those onions, they go beautiful, even like you said, on top of your poached egg. Or I did the other day, I did the steamed chicken in the aroma. I had this on the side. What is also beautiful to use with this function is the red onion chutney, which I did the other day. Beautiful, goes with that as well. Also, not to forget about the high heat function is the sugar work. So you can actually do lollipops, or I done a peanut brittle, which is beautiful. So your own confectionery. So there are so many ways and things you can use this machine beautifully. So I just wanted to show you this, and I'm gonna eat that steak now, I think. I'm hungry.
Fair enough. With all this cooking going on.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Wonderful. So one more last time to you, Melissa, or is nothing else you can show us? You're still muted? Here we go.
No, I've given it. Someone asked what spatula I was using. That's actually a little spoonula. I've got a spatula addiction, and I reckon I've probably got 18. These are just little spoon-shaped ones, so I can scrape stuff out of the bowl without using a metal spoon. So they're just little spoonulas, only little things. So someone asked what that was. But that's it for me. Oh,
all right.
There was one more thing. Sorry, Jenny, there was one more thing. If you're doing a little mix shop, grab yourself one of these little brushes. They're also from the mix shop, because they are fantastic for getting underneath the blades where you can't see. It looks clean, but it's not, because when you're doing dough, mash, risotto, anything like that, stuff gets right underneath the blades, and they're brilliant for cleaning it out. And they're also available in the mix shop.
That's great. All right, so now I'm trying to do something technology very challenging for me. So Chris has finished the cater and the muesli, and they sent me a photo. So I'm trying to share that photo with you. So bear with me. And oh my God, can you see that? Thumbs up. Yay.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, wonderful. So yeah, thanks so much, Chris, for doing this. So there in the bottom you can see the shredded cater. In the middle part we've got a yogurt, and I think she said it's a cashew yogurt, and some fresh strawberries there on top. And you can prepare that and for the next day, and just have that sitting in the fridge ready in the morning, or you just do it straight away in the morning. Okay, now I think I'm back. All right, then I'm really hungry now. I don't know about you guys, but we are okay. We're great in time. I'm very pleased with what that we managed to do this all in just 1.5 hours. That was 8 dishes, and yeah, as promised, we're going to share the recipes with you and all the details. So that comes up soon. All right, so what happens next? I'll just quickly wanted to share with you Cookie Do, because we talked about Cookie Do quite a lot, and we are letting you know that Cookie Do is already there on your machine. So Cookie Do is for everyone, all right? You don't have to have a TM5 or a TM6 or you TM31 owners. If you haven't signed up on Cookie Do yet, your consultant will share the link with you, or maybe we can also pop it into the chat box. It's cookiedoo.com.au, and you can sign up and get 30 days free access to all the beautiful recipes we have there on Cookie Do. And yesterday I learned it's over 60,000 now worldwide. And as you've seen today, going also to the international platforms that we have really widens up the repertoire, and it's fun, you know. So try different recipes in different languages. You could also go, I don't know, be bold, go to Italy and choose an Italian recipe. It will not translate into English on your screen on the Thermomix, but with a little help, you can look up the recipe on Cookie Do, and using Google Chrome, it will actually translate it on your laptop or iPad, whatever you're having, and you can follow the guidance on the machine in a different language. Or what you also can do is grab your iPhone and get Google Translate. It's an app, and hover that with the photo mode on top of the screen of the Thermomix, and it will translate on your phone. So it's a bit of a fun thing to do if you're keen to do that. But there's lots and lots of English spoken recipes available on the UK platform, on the US platform, and obviously, of course, also there in Australia. And so 30 days free access to Cookie Do. If you get a Thermomix TM6, you get additional 6 months on top of that, already included and ready to go. And after that, it's $49 a year for the subscription. When you look at it, usually one of our cookbooks alone costs $50. So with the subscription, you're better off. And every time a new cookbook's coming out, you get automatically access to them, all guided there, right in there on your machine. So I think it's a bargain, honestly. And just on Friday, we had a new Asian cookbook being released on the Australian platform. If you haven't had a chance to look into that yet, please go ahead and do so. It's got some really great recipes in there. All right, also on Cookie Do, obviously, not only having access to complete new cookbooks, you can also create your own playlists, like we like to call them. When you look at it like Spotify or iTunes, that's where you got all the music in the world. So here you got all the recipes in the world, and you can just pick and choose whatever you want and put them into folders, into collections, like we call them, and get them onto your screen. Also, Cookie Do does provide a weekly meal planning function, if that's when you want to get organized and help you taking the stress out on the sentence, what's for dinner tonight, mum? Get into the weekly meal planning. You try it. I think you might like it because it's been so easy with the help of Cookie Do. And as a big bonus on that, from these weekly meal plannings, you can also create shopping lists. So you can make sure that you've got all the ingredients at home there when you need them. Okay, then we quickly talk about creating making your own cooking experience. So we quickly talk about host rewards. So you saw the baking mats. You saw we were using the Thermo service today. These are all host rewards you can get your hands on. And another one for the TM5 owners who are not there yet to upgrade to a TM6, and you don't have a cookie yet, that's also part of our host rewards. So please talk to your consultant about how we can help you getting access to these host rewards. All right, we have more like this coming up for you, either as a team cooking experience or doing an individual one with your consultant. Just watch this space or stay in touch with your consultants. They will let you know. And finally, so if you would like to go ahead and get a Thermomix today, remember we've got the gift with purchase, either the 6 bottles of wine, just over $200 value, or the 2-minute thermoservice and the vegetarian book. That gift with purchase comes all month of May for you. Please reach out to your consultant and have a chat with them. Just so you know, we are there to support you all the way along your journey, even if we are remote as we are now at the moment. We're still offering these workshops and online cooking classes for you, and also little cooking experiences like mini cooking classes straight to your home. Another way that you could learn more about your machine is actually to come on board, join my team. You've all met them here today, and they are a great bunch of people to work with. You could also work with me if that's something you thought, oh yeah, that she sounds nice enough. Okay, anyway, let's not go there. If you want to hear more about the business opportunity or joining our team, learn more about your Thermomix, or even earn a Thermomix, then yeah, just have a chat with me or to your consultant, and they will pass you over to me, and I let you know when we have info sessions on. Okay, and finally, that's basically, yeah, one last question for me. Do you want one? Have we shown you today enough that really made you go, wow, I had not expected the TM6 actually to be that cool, that it can do so many different things now, more than my Thermomix so far can do? Or if you just haven't had the chance to get the Thermomix on your kitchen bench at all, then I hope we showed you something that really blowed your mind, and you can't wait for this Mother's Day gift to arrive at your doorstep. All right, so what else do I need to say? Yeah, book your own cooking experience. And final thing about the mix shop, yes, because Melissa was kindly sharing a couple of things with you there. So just so you know, when you go into the mix shop, every order from $125 is free shipping. And just before you go to the checkout, make sure that you put down the name of your consultant, so they get the recognition there that they showed you what to do. And even though it's Mother's Day, and if you already have a Thermomix and you really want something additional into your smart connected kitchen, I can highly recommend you this meter. A meter is another smart connected tool that you can get, and it's actually a meat thermometer. So check it out on the Mix Shop. That's a great addition to every smart kitchen that we have. It's gonna be connected to an app, and it's gonna show you exactly when the meat is done. I really appreciate that one when I'm making a whole chicken, because chicken is always a guessing game for me, and very often in the past, I was not confident enough, and I always thought, oh, let's have it a little bit longer just in case. I don't want to undercooked chicken there. And very often it was too dry because I was too cautious. Now with this beautiful tool here, there's no more guessing when the chicken is done. It's exactly as easy as using a Thermomix right there. If you want to hear more about that, either go onto the Mix Shop there and have a look, or talk to your consultants. They can help you with that one too. Okay, so I think we just came to the end now. Thank you all so much for being with us today on this Sunday afternoon, and I hope you all have a wonderful Mother's Day ahead. Yeah, stay in touch with your consultants, have a chat. I know some of you have chat groups where you were talking already. If you do have any more questions, feel free to also reply to the email that I sent to you. Thanks all for coming, and watch this space for the recipes that we're going to send you through later today. Have you any open questions from the chat?
We've just got a lot of fantastic feedback, which is awesome. One person has asked about our recording, and yes, it was recorded. Maybe just a little bit at the start could be missing, but otherwise, yes, recording. And are we going to send it out, Jenny?
Yes, we can. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. Great.
Good, send the recording. No problem.
Getting lots of feedback in. No more questions.
Wonderful. Well, then, thank you all that you were here today, and we are officially saying goodbye, and have a lovely rest of the Sunday. I'm going onto my poached eggs now. I'm not going to share them with the family.
And
Nice, I'm jealous.
cinnamon scroll.
I know, I wish I was having cinnamon scrolls. I think I'm going to have to make some.
Tell you what, you bring me over a coffee and you can have. Oi.
Oi, 20 there, baby.
I'm telling you, those onions, they smell so great, you know.
I know, I can smell them from here, and I really could have some on my mix right there. Okay, fantastic.
Holly, you might want to start recording too.
Yeah, so we can end the recording now.
Yeah, I'll do that. Do I just stop recording? Yeah.